we would want to support the AFP again, especially in these coming years. Talagang kailangan natin ito no? That we really have to, because of the situation right now. Ang problema kasi, pag mag-order tayo ng bawa ng mga ships, it takes about 3 to 4 years to build. So kanina gusto ko tayo na yung what we are doing by having these joint exercises with our right-minded allies, that's the only the way we can, no? At least protect our sovereignty, no? By at least strength in numbers, at least habang inaantay natin na dumating yung mga orders natin in the near future.
At the same time, it also sends a strong message to the international community that we have the support of these countries, and I think what's important also is the legitimacy of our position, Mr. President. So maganda ho yung binubuo na alyansa ni Secretary Teodoro and his team, because this also gives us that legitimacy image, no, in the entire world. No? So para sa akin, importante ho yun. Alam naman ho natin na hindi lang po palakasan to, kung hindi importante rin na yung ating posisyon ay rinirespeto ng buong mundo.
And I'd like to commend the Secretary Teodoro and the AFP for doing this, for really reaching out to our right-minded allies. And I think that's the only way we can at present, no? Kasi nga talagang hindi naman natin pwedeng madalin yung modernization. Which once we order the equipment, it takes a while, no, before it can be delivered. So I think that's the best option that we have right now. At least po yung Japan, Australia, US, of course, Korea have been very supportive of our position, especially on the West Philippine Sea. So with that, I terminate my interpellation. That I just like to again reiterate our support to the DMD, the AFP, the family, and be rest assured that we will always, here in the Senate, we will not only restore, but we will always augment or even increase the AFP modernization so that we will, our dream of having that minimum credible defense posture may be achieved very soon. Thank you, Mr. President. Madam President.
Salamat, Senator GV, for those interventions. Thank you very much po.
Salamat sa good gentleman from San Juan. Majority Leader.
Yes, Madam President, the last to interpret is our Committee on National Defense Chair, Senator Lauren Legarda. I move that she be recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Yes,
Madam
Senator
President.
Legarda is recognized.
And thank you to the Majority Leader. We welcome once again, and I'm the last interpellator. I promise you it will be brief because I know that you've been here for 2 days, and I will no longer ask my many questions, and just a few, which is to enhance your budget. I see the chair, he must be so tired, but he's been so patient, calmly answering each and every question. My first question will be very basic, which I did not see in the NEP or in the previous year's GAA. I spoke to the AFP leadership and the SND earlier, and they, during their term, have not experienced having a quick response fund. We know that the QRF is given to agencies so that they may use it in times of natural hazards which turn into disasters. And I recall in the 2018 GAA, I gave the AFP 750 million as quick response fund. And this fund supported rescue operations, logistics, and post-disaster operations. I see in the succeeding years, there was none. There are agencies with QRF. It would really depend on the chair because under our NDREAM law, we have the NDREAM fund, but the NDREAM fund is so difficult to secure. You have to ask the DBM, the Office of the President, and by the time that the agencies utilize the NDREAM or LGUs access the NDREAM fund, wala na po. Taon na ang nakalipas pagkatapos ng bagyo, sakuna, etc. So I know that the AFP also helped the PNP and LGUs and DPWH agencies of government. So I don't know if you'll be able to answer this because 2018 was 8 years ago. Has it been helpful? I would assume it was helpful. And if we innovate a little in the budget, and if there's fiscal space, would the good sponsor be willing? Because the trip tourism road in DPWH has still some portions there, and the CMPD was not applied to the trip. So if you are willing to have an allocation for a quick response fund, especially in the wake of so many natural hazards coming, I would like to know, is it useful? Is the AFP willing to receive? And I'm sure it would probably be an answer in the affirmative. And would it be helpful in your post-disaster response as well as pre-positioning if you had a QRF? Quick
Yes,
response
Mr.
for-
President, although it's not in their proposals, Mr. President, because the Secretary sits as the chairman of the OCD, and, the NDRIMC, which also facilitates the release of the NDRIM fund. No, so because of that NDRIM fund, they can actually do disaster preparedness and response, also rehabilitation. No, so-
Yes, Mr. President. In our 2010 law, the NDREAM law, and we were here debating it, and I was one of the authors and sponsors, clearly the NDREAM fund is different from the quick response fund, because the quick response, as the name would say, is lodged in agencies that are deemed frontliners in terms of natural hazards. And so we know that the AFP is always sought after for assistance by our internal forces. And so I deemed it helpful to put a quick response fund, because at the time, I believe the AFP asked for it. I think it was in our committee hearing where, who was the SND there? SND 2018 was probably Lorenzana, General Lorenzana, Secretary, and not sure who the AFP chief was, but marami rin mga bagyo nun, may La Nina, may El Nino, and sabi ko, ba't wala kayong QRF? Ang DA meron, ang DPWH meron. And that year, we also provided the PNP with QRF. We also gave the BJMP. So I just like to put it on record. And if there is fiscal space, and the QRF, Mr. President, can be replenished from the NDREAM fund. Pero ang importante dito, nandyan na. It is already lodged with the agency. And in this case, the AFP. And I'm sure with our gallant men and women and with SND Chodoro there, this will be put to good use. I would just like to advocate for this. Whatever is fiscally possible. I hope also in the next years, the AFP would regularly have the QRF. Sila po ay nandyan, frontliners po sila. Kung meron ang DPWH, kung meron ang DepEd, kung meron ang iba-ibang ahensya ng gobyerno, DOH, bakit naman wala ang Armed Forces of the Philippines? So, I would humbly, respectfully, but strongly advocate for a QRF for the Armed Forces of the Philippines.
The Secretary mentioned that it would be helpful for the AFP to have QRF. So, because you're correct, Mr. President, that during calamities, actually, it is the AFP that responses to the calamities, to the rescue efforts. Although they supplement the efforts of the LGU, pero if it's a massive flooding, like in Valenzuela, I know this for a fact. If it's a massive flooding or there's a massive typhoon coming, the AFP normally deploys a team to LGUs to supplement the disaster teams of the different LGUs. So it will be very helpful, Mr. President.
Thank you for agreeing with me. Mr. President, dahil wag naman mangyari if the big one happens, the big quake, in highly congested areas of Metro Manila. But even what happened in Cebu. And everything that happened, yung nangyari lang sa Cordillera, again, sa Benguet, ang dami-dami. 12 months in a year, there's always natural hazards coming, whether it's a landslide, it's a storm surge, it's a flood, etc. And if other agencies have it, why not the AFP? So that's my earnest request. Whatever amount, napaghahanapan naman po natin pag gusto natin. Hindi ko naman sinasabing 750 million, pero kung kaya, pero kung anong parte po. Dahil there's a world of a difference between the Dream Fund, which, grabe po, it takes so long to secure the Dream Fund. And there's something wrong with our system, and I'm blaming our law. There's so many requirements for the Dream, and even LGUs complain of the lengthy, arduous process for them to receive the Dream. So iba po yung QRF. In fact, I'd like to know what agencies are given the QRF now. May mga iba po nandyan na eh. Kasi handa na yung pondo. Kasi naka-launch na po sa kanilang ahensya. So thank you for agreeing with me. May I please, may you please consider it as part of my
Yes, Mr. President, we will
amendments.
study that proposal, Mr. President.
Thank you so much. I know the period of amendments will be reflected yet on Monday. I see LB Remo nodding their head. Here she goes again with additional. I can help you find the source of the funding. Pwede tayo magputol ng konti ng puno sa NGP at ilagay natin sa QRF na Armed Forces of the Philippines. Thank you. I move now to BCDA remittances, because I read a statement from Secretary Chodoro. S&D Chodoro publicly declared the model a failure, noting that the AFP earned only 45 billion in 26 years while losing irreplaceable strategic assets such as Fort Bonifacio. You emphasized, Mr. Secretary, that the geographic and structural value of the former military bases cannot be replicated elsewhere. And I quote your statement, without spending trillions, arguing that continued conversion weakens the country's deterrent posture. So far, there's been a remittance of 35.75 billion to the Bureau of Treasury, of which 28.37 billion was released and utilized by the AFP, leaving a balance of 7.37 billion as of 2025. Of the three, may I know of this 28.37 billion utilized, what exactly was funded, and how many modernization or horizon projects were actually completed from these remittances?
Insofar as the horizon, Mr. President, the agencies requesting that to give the list to you, because those are confidential information.
Okay, yes.
Or we can do an executive session to
Yes.
discuss the investments that were made. Because obviously those are technologies and equipment that our AFP purchased to enhance and to develop our capability.
Yes, I agree. So I will keep it at that, and that's so that we can be briefed. And may we just be enlightened? Why were the remittances seemingly irregular? Was it irregular or significantly lower in certain years, like in 2024, it was only 900 million pesos? And what reforms are being done or pursued to improve predictability, transparency, and remittance performance? Bakit po hindi binibigay lahat ang due sa AFP, at bakit po hindi regular ang pag-remit?
So, Mr. President, seems to me, through the explanation of Secretary Teodoro, that the BCDA objectives were not met